So yeah, I've just had a quick look at the plans, and we need to brace up both these walls here. So I'm going to brace that up because I don't like to put my roller door post in until I've braced, because sometimes the bracing can pull your building over a little bit, and then that means you're throwing your roller door post over. So I like to, if there's bracing in the wall where there's roller door posts, brace first, then do your roller door post. It'll be pretty solid because they're back-to-back columns. So yeah, we're going to get braced up, and then we'll get some roller door posts in. I've got a mark off my mullion up there. When you measure up your bracing, I always add on a couple 100 mil, just to give you a bit of leverage when you're tightening the bracing. I've got the best way to see that this guy, it'll just all uncoil. So I actually just walk on it, get to my point, run it through a bit further, put it in there. I find me grinding this too, to go through, like just go nice and easy through the top. Don't like cut through straight on, because that will end up binding and it'll snap your grinding disc. Like that, see that? You just got to go nice and light with it. And when you're finished with it, either tape it up, or if you need to cut more, you want to sit it in tight to something. We're not using it anymore anyways. I'll just show you. When it's a lot bigger, and the pressure of that all uncoils. So it's difficult it's just a pain in the ass. All right, we'll do some bracing now. Through, we checked all our columns, all our portals are locked up. So there's just a couple of things with bracing. I actually really used to struggle with bracing, and then I got showed a technique because I was either not getting it tight enough or too tight. But over time, I've just like been able to work out what's acceptable depending on the size of the brace, size of the bay, but just getting good tension. So what we'll do, I'm going to pin the top here, get my hole. Now you get it in tight, and then back off a thread or two so you can move. Because if that's tight, you can't move it. We want a bit of flexibility there, so we can, like so. This is the tricky part, or can be the tricky part. So this is how I like to do it. So I'm like hand tight there. I get a little penetration. Can you see my mark? Now I'm going to move it. Got to move about five. Given the size of this bay, I'll move about 5 mil down. So you can see my initial indentation. And then I pierce that. And then you're angling your screw in. Voila. And then that's got a good tension on it, which is what we're after. And we screw all this off. And then what I do to break this off is I'll just go with little indentations. Save having to use a grinder. Boom, snap, that's that done. Back to the top. Very important to do a bay at a time. So don't just go through and just put that piece on and that piece on. You actually need to do your bay, because what happens is you can end up like over tensioning one way, and then then when you go to put these on, these will start loosening up. So I always, it's just bay at a time with these. And back it off a touch, same deal. And I'm aiming for the same 5 mil. Whatever you do to one side, you do the other. Sometimes too, you might have to pull, like your portal might be over a touch, so you'll pull the portal back to level where it needs to go. But these are running good. Hand tight, indentation, down 5 mil. Voila. Also just a note, don't put your bracing on until you've got all of your girts in and all of your fascias, because if they're loose or the fascias aren't done up properly, you're going to get a lot more pull. Like you'll pull it. So these are all locked, so that it can only move a little bit. But yeah, if they're loose, then you're going to have a world of trouble. So yeah, we don't do the bracing until we've got all our building secure. Also, when I get my first screw, I get my indentation and then remove the brace out of the way. Because I find that this bounces, like, and it actually bluntens the screw and heats the screw off, and then you can't get the bloody screw through. That's for the very first, putting the very first screw in. Indentation, 5 mil. Voila. My understanding of the bracing is that we can be framed out, have the bracing applied, and the building's not going to move. Like, as you know, I should have actually done a test, but also we probably wouldn't have been able to see it with the back-to-back columns because the building's very rigid because of just because of these back-to-back columns. And also, so it's very important to have it. So if you need to leave this job, which we're actually going to need to leave this job because we're still waiting on the vermin flashing. But yeah, if you leave this job, that bracing ensures that when we come back, that we're not straightening up the building because of winds or anything like that. But also, it's like for years down the track as well. So like if you go to reseed a shed 20 years later, you can take the sheets off, and because the bracing's installed, that the bracing's still holding the structure of the building. Because essentially once the sheets are on, that locks up the building. So yeah, it's very important to have the bracing installed.